back to America's Friends. Glad you're with us. I'm Amy Fuller, and we are U2 America. We invite you to check out our website, u2america.com. Be the you. Well, tonight we are welcoming an expert in artificial intelligence. Yes, it's all over the place. It's running your life, and you don't even know it. Darren Campo is with us. He is a best-selling sci-fi author, TV executive producer, and an expert in AI. And Darren, you have such a vast background, I barely know where to begin.
Well, obviously I have, thank you for having me, Amy. But being a sci-fi author, I've had to keep up with artificial intelligence, and it seems amazing to keep up with it. And it's kind of a difficult subject to talk to because people, not surprisingly, have a really emotional reaction to it.
Just because we've all seen Terminator and Terminator Salvation, that's why.
Right. But if we think back to even before in that AI, there's a lot of movies where the artificial intelligence ends up being a very good friend to the humans.
So you were writing these great novels, these great books, and you started studying it, and you must have gotten very interested in it because now you're an expert. Tell me about that.
Well, there are the sort of the artificial intelligence that we have now in our everyday life that is still a long way away from the things we were just talking about with Terminator or even 2001: A Space Odyssey. And so the things that we use today, they're kind of two kinds. There's the kind that we talk to them, and we all know Siri and ask it directions or ask it questions. And then there's the kinds of things that are doing things for us, like vacuums that clean our house. You might have a desk that tells you it's time to stand up. And there's be a convergence in the future of these two things where pretty much everything around us is something that we can talk to.
So they're pretty useful to us if we give them a chance?
I think so, but it depends on what the intention of the use is. Most of them right now, admittedly, are to sell us more stuff. So we've sort of made a pact with all of the different things that we use, from our Amazon algorithm purchases to our Netflix viewing, that, okay, we'll exchange some information gathering with you, so you can have some information on me in order to make my life a little easier. But that line is the line that we're talking about every day. It's a line that we don't know. We think it's probably been crossed a lot recently. We've seen it a lot recently. We've seen data breaches. We've seen people use information that we didn't imagine it was going to be used that way. So I think it's a line that moves every day.
So this information gathering we look at, there's a lot of helpful things like I shop on Amazon and it knows what I want next and it can prompt me. But also it can take your information and use it against you.
That's right. But it's also not to be, anything can be used against you. You could meet somebody. I used to have 3-card Monty on the streets here in New York, and all the people would say, well, I can win at that. But of course, that would be used against us. So there are a lot of things that be used against us, and we shouldn't think of it as necessarily bad because of that. But we also have to take a bit of responsibility in how we use it. We can't just say, oh, they did that to me, and that's not good.
Right, because we pretty much depend on it in some ways, but in other ways we're very fearful. What do you love about AI?
I love the potential of AI. When I'm thinking about a science fiction book, when I'm thinking about things that would really make our lives better, I think about the students that I teach at NYU. I've been teaching there for a long time, and I'm so impressed because they're really sharp and they have a clarity of thinking. And I always take, in one of my books, like in Stingers, I take these child prodigies and I combine them with this great artificial intelligence and together they save the world from a war. Those are the sorts of things that I think are really amazing. How can artificial intelligence help humans get control of their negative thoughts? Because if we were able to get control of our negative thoughts and turn them into more helpful thoughts, that would be a great, great benefit to the human race. And then when you think about sickness, about life extension, and even immortality, which is being worked on now by, there's a lot of billionaires and they don't want their lives to end anytime soon. So there's a lot of crazy and cool stuff that can be looked forward to.
There really is. We're talking to Darren Campo, DarrenCampo.com. He's a best-selling sci-fi author, television producer, and executive. And we're going to hold you over in our next segment in a few minutes to talk about your books and your background in TV and the networks you've worked for, which are very interesting. But right now on AI, back to this, where do you see what aids for us humans do you see it giving us in the next year or two, like sort of immediately? What's next for us?
One of the great advances that's happening now is that AI can understand us talking to it a lot better. I think we've all seen somebody asking Siri a funny question that it can't answer. I asked Siri to feed my dog yesterday, and it couldn't do that for me, but it could find websites that could help me feed my dog. I think one of the things that we'll see over the next year is that it will become more convenient to talk to artificial intelligences and talk to our devices in a way where it saves us time and it frees us up. And of course, more free time is always better. I think that's one of the really, really close things that we're seeing. And one of the other things that is happening now is that translation technology has gotten incredible, so that you could be talking to somebody from any country now and get a real-time translation.
That is a huge leap. I agree. And I know they're trying to perfect the voice interface so it gets even better, right?
That's right. And if you watch some of those recent episodes of Jeopardy where Watson wins or does really well against other people, you're watching that new model of AI technology where it doesn't just piece together the words and try to assume. It actually can understand context much the way that the human brain, as we understand it, understands the context of a conversation.
It is really cool to think about, but for people who binge on that show Black Mirror, some of us are worried AI will become too smart. Are we anywhere near that? We talked a little bit about that earlier, but it's where a lot of our minds go to.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Black Mirror, because we see in the storytelling, we see the thoughts and fears and hopes reflected that we have right now. And the storytelling does help us deal with it. And a lot of the storytelling, like in Black Mirror, is sort of a moral, it's sort of a moral play. And it says, well, this bad thing happened when technology got too smart, but human beings, you weren't responsible enough. You ceded your responsibilities to something else, and therefore here's the consequences. It's like one of those old grim fairy tales. Yeah,
it's like the human condition, because it's just like a modern day Twilight Zone, really, and that's decades old.
Right. Right, it is. And so it's great to see that in our entertainment, because it keeps us thinking about it. And as we said, that line that moves every day, so it has to be addressed constantly.
So Darren Campo with DarrenCampo.com. We are going to, as I said, hold you over and talk a little bit more about this. Can AI extend our lives? We'll answer that. And we'll also talk about your couple decades as a TV executive and producer and your amazing sci-fi books. So thanks for being here, and we'll see you back here in just a few minutes, okay?
Thank you.
Messing around, I've been messing around, I've been messing around.
Welcome back to America Trends. I'm Amy Fuller here with Darren Campo. He's with us from New York, where he writes his books, teaches, and also has been doing a lot of TV production over the past couple decades. And you have a vast background in that, Darren. Tell me about that.
Oh my God! When I hear the word decades, it's true. It was 1996. I started at CBS television stations. I went to Court TV, and then we turned that into True TV, and then Food Network, which is now part of Discovery. But one of the things that's great, I've noticed, that hasn't, I always look for things that haven't changed in 20 years. When 1997, when I was at CBS television stations, we were looking at, local shows, and there was a show which everyone thought, it's too old fashioned. It's not going to work. But I said, I think it's funny. We should license it for the New York station. And we did. And that show was Judge Judy. And so 20 years later, Judge Judy is still the highest rated show on TV.
Darren Campo, you helped give us Judge Judy. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right. I'm very proud of it.
And then True TV, which gave us Impractical Jokers.
That's right. Impractical Jokers is one of the great comedic shows that the network has come up with.
It's so funny. And you did some of the food channels too.
Yeah, Food Network is a really nice network because it's part of a family viewing habits where we have Chopped and Chopped Junior. So we really focused on, can we get the whole family around the TV and have a nice experience together? That's
so necessary this day and age. So you're an adjunct professor at New York University Stern School of Business, and you teach entertainment, media, and technology program in that program. And during all this, you said, I must write. How did that get started?
Well, I don't know exactly, other than like a lot of people. My first job out of school was I was answering phones at CBS. I wasn't that second year there where I got to help with the syndicated programming, but I was always writing. And the thing I like to remind people is, if you take a job, and a lot of people, you have to take a job to pay bills, but there's these other things you like to do. You should keep doing them. And once you stop doing them, it's very easy for you to think, well, I'm not a writer now. I don't paint anymore. I don't do music anymore. And then you stop doing it. You kind of give yourself, you don't have permission to do it anymore. And the other thing is, really, I was reading something the other day where the person said, dare to be mediocre, because if you try to be a perfectionist when you're writing or you're painting or any creative endeavor, it's just so easy to stop doing it. You'll just absolutely say, you know what, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. I'm not going to do it. So those two things, I think I started to become aware of, and that helped me to write my first book, again, 20 years ago.
Right. Advice for others, though, it gets in the way of getting things done if you try to be a perfectionist. And on your other point, no one's going to tell you no but you.
I mean, I don't know how many times we need to hear this. I need to hear it over and over. I'm always working on something, and there's always the point where I think, well, this is just bad, and I should stop. It was a bad idea. So I encourage my students in class. One of the things we do in the business of producing class is I have them come up with a project that's a bad idea. I'm going to be a bad idea because your roommate can tell you that's a worst idea. And it has to be something that they could shoot like on their iPhone in an afternoon in 10 minutes. So like, and with storytelling in it. So like an instant conflict and a resolution. So like, can I wash your dog was one of them. I'm like, just, it's 2 minutes. Can I wash your dog? So, in New York will give you a great response. You can't wash my dog for sure. So those are the kinds of things we try to teach by example and get some creativity and examples flowing.
Right. Your students must love you because you also say your enthusiasm is a big clue to your future. So you are very motivating.
Well, that's my purpose in that classroom. The motivation, encouragement, and all of those things go hand in hand with information and experience. And I don't think that the world can only get better with people who are enthusiastic about what they're doing. And an enthusiastic person is a great person to have around. That's the kind of person you want in the room. That's the kind of person that gets things done, that gets promotions at work. So if you can just remember to be, the kind of person somebody wants in the room, it's a great advantage.
Yeah, that's who you want to hire because you can teach an enthusiastic person how to do things.
You can teach an enthusiastic person, and an enthusiastic person can teach you. One of the most important things is to be in a good state of mind when you're getting things done. because you can make them so much better. You can have energy. You can inspire other people. Almost nothing we do in life is a solo effort. It's all someone else has helped us with it, whether we know it or not. A lot of times we don't even know all of the people that have been helping us. So to intentionally help other people is something that's of great value. And
you are a success story on that front because you are the author of the best-selling series, as we said, the Alex Details science fiction series. You've got 4 books, it looks like, and that must have been just so cool to start a whole new thing and have it just go off the charts. How did you do this?
Well, I started just one page at a time. You just have to write one page. You don't have to write a whole book. Just one page, push yourself through one page, and then you're done. And then the next day, write another page. Because a year is going to go by no matter what. So if you write a page every day, you have 360 pages by the end of the year, if you take 5 days off there. And then share it with someone who really likes your writing. I was lucky. I've had some friends who I would call up and say, here's what I wrote. And they always loved it, whether it was good or bad. And then I was really lucky years later. Jackie Jordan, who has a publishing company, had read one of my books, and she was a big fan and loved it, and published it. And that gave me more encouragement to keep writing.
Oh man, we're going to have you back to talk more about that, but I promised I'd tell people that about artificial intelligence extending our lives. Can you tell us in 20 seconds how it's already helping?
Well, it's definitely already helping, we know, with the way that 3D printers can print new organs and ears. And gene therapy, which my mother just had done, and it helped her heal incredibly from an injury, all the way to maybe one day we can just upload to the cloud and we don't have to worry about our bodies anymore.
So much to look forward to. Darren Campo, we'll have to have you back time and time again. We appreciate your being here.
Thank you, Amy.
Sure, and coming up on America Trends, a big winner at the box office this weekend. Stay with us.